The small apartment was quiet, except for the soft hum of the air filter on the wall. Alex, the human, thought he finally had a few moments of peace. Life with an alien roommate was not easy, but today felt safe enough. He had just stepped out of the shower, wrapped only in a thin towel. He thought no one was home. He walked into the room humming a tune. The floor was a mess of socks, notebooks, and food wrappers, but Alex didn't care. He was too busy enjoying his short moment of freedom. For a human, being alone meant comfort. For Alex, it meant dropping the mask he wore every day. But then, the door hissed open. Alex froze. Standing in the doorway was Reek, his alien roommate. Reek was not like any creature Alex had seen before he came to the station. His tall frame bent slightly to fit inside the doorframe. His skin shimmered like oil floating on water. 4 dark eyes blinked slowly, studying Alex from head to toe. His hands, or claws, clutched a data pad that he seemed to forget about. The moment he walked in, Alex's heart jumped into his throat. "Oh no. Oh no, no, no," he whispered, gripping the towel tighter around his waist. "Do you mind?" But Reek did not move. He did not speak. He only stared. The silence stretched, too long, filling the small room with tension. Alex expected embarrassment or maybe laughter, but Reek's face showed something different. It was not shame, it was not humor, it was fascination. That scared Alex more than anything. "Hey, it's rude to just walk in," Alex shouted, trying to sound strong though his ears were burning red. Finally, the alien spoke, his voice deep and rough with words carefully shaped through an accent not made for human tongues. "You are uncovered," Reek said slowly, like he was observing a scientific fact. Alex blinked. "Yeah, obviously. That's why you should close the door." But the alien did not close the door. He tilted his head, eyes glimmering in the low light. He was studying Alex like a puzzle. "What exactly are you doing?" Alex asked, stepping back toward the bed. His towel slipped slightly, and he caught it just in time. "I did not expect this," Reek said at last. Alex groaned. "Neither did I," but deep inside, a strange feeling began to grow. Why was Reek not embarrassed? Why was he so curious? The alien's breathing was steady, his claws tapping lightly against the data pad as if recording something in his mind. Then Reek asked the question that made Alex's skin crawl. "Does it hurt?" Alex's eyes widened. "What? No. Why would it hurt? It's just me. This is normal." The alien blinked all 4 eyes, confusion spreading across his face. "Normal? For humans?" Something about the way he said it made Alex shiver. He suddenly realized, in all the time they had lived together, Reek had never once seen a human so vulnerable. The aliens wore armor-like clothing, strong fabrics that hid their bodies completely. To them, being uncovered might mean something more, something dangerous, something forbidden. Alex pulled the towel tighter, heart racing. "Look, just forget this ever happened, okay?" But Reich did not agree. He stepped into the room, slow and careful, like a predator approaching prey. His eyes never left Alex. "Humans," Reek muttered. "Always different, always surprising." The human tried to laugh, but his voice cracked. "Yeah, well, we like to keep things interesting." Still, the alien did not smile. He did not leave. Instead, he said something that turned the awkward moment into something darker. "I must report this," Reek whispered. Alex's stomach dropped. "Wait. Report? To who?" But the alien gave no answer. He simply turned and left, leaving the door wide open. The hum of the air filter filled the silence again, but now the room felt heavier, colder. Alex stood frozen, towel clutched in his hands, mind racing. Why would Reek need to report something so small, so embarrassing? To the aliens, this was not small. This was important. And in that moment, Alex realized something that made his skin crawl even more. This was not just an accident. This was the beginning of something he did not understand. The awkward silence. The door had closed behind Reek with a slow, heavy hiss, but the echo of his words stayed in the room like a ghost. I must report this. Alex stood frozen in the middle of the apartment, the towel clutched so tightly in his hands that his knuckles turned white. He had no idea what his alien roommate meant, and the silence in the small room suddenly felt louder than anything else. He sat on the bed, still wet from the shower, water dripping down his shoulders. His heart was beating too fast. He tried to convince himself that it was nothing. Maybe Reek had just chosen the wrong words. Maybe report was just a weird alien translation. But deep down, Alex knew better. Aliens didn't waste words. Reek especially never wasted words. When he said report, he meant it. And that was the problem. The next few hours dragged on like years. Alex paced back and forth in the small space, replaying the moment over and over. He thought about Reek's strange stare, those unblinking eyes studying him like he was an experiment. He thought about the way Reek hadn't seemed embarrassed at all, only curious, almost hungry for understanding. What the hell just happened? Alex whispered to himself. The quiet gave him no answer. At one point, Alex grabbed his datapad and tried to distract himself by scrolling through messages, but his mind refused to calm down. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw Reich's face, that alien curiosity frozen in time. It wasn't embarrassment. It wasn't disgust. It was something else, something that scared Alex more than laughter ever could. The apartment door hissed open again later that evening. Alex jumped, his towel long since replaced by regular clothes, though his chest still felt bare. Reek entered slowly, his tall frame bending under the doorway. He carried nothing this time, no datapad, no tools, no bags, only his eyes, sharp and unreadable in the same strange silence that had filled the air earlier. Alex swallowed hard. Hey, he said quickly, trying to sound casual. About earlier. Let's just forget it, okay? Accidents happen. You walk in, you see something you weren't supposed to see, we move on. Simple. Reek tilted his head. His four eyes blinked in pairs once, twice. Forget? He repeated as if testing the word. Yes, forget. Alex forced a smile. That's what humans do. We laugh about it later, maybe tell a joke, and then we forget. But Reek didn't laugh. His voice was calm, low, almost soft. Humans choose to forget. My kind does not. The silence returned, thicker this time. Alex felt it press against his chest. He rubbed the back of his neck, wishing he could disappear into the wall. You're making this really awkward, Alex muttered. I mean, more awkward than it already was. Still, Reek only stood there, his long arms folded across his chest, his eyes fixed on Alex like he was trying to peel back his skin and see what was hidden inside. Finally, the alien spoke again. Why did you cover yourself so quickly? Alex blinked. What? That's obvious, because you're not supposed to see that. Not supposed, Reek echoed. A rule? Yes, a rule. A human rule. Alex's voice rose, more nervous than angry. It's private, personal. You don't just look at someone like that. Reek was silent for a long moment. Then in a slow, deliberate tone, he asked, What is private about your skin? The words hit Alex like a slap. He opened his mouth to answer, but nothing came out. How could he explain something so normal to someone who didn't share his world? His culture, his shame? It just is, Alex said finally. You wouldn't understand. Reek tilted his head again. Perhaps not, but I must try. The silence grew heavier. Alex couldn't look at him anymore. He turned away, staring at the cluttered desk in the corner of the room, at the half-empty cup of instant noodles, at anything but those piercing eyes. His mind raced with questions. Why did Reich care so much? Why hadn't he laughed, or apologized, or simply walked away? Why was he treating this like it was important? Alex finally asked, his voice quieter now. Why are you acting so weird about this? Why does it matter to you? Reich stepped closer, each footstep soft but heavy on the metal floor. He stopped just a few feet away, his shadow stretching long across the wall. Because, Reich said, what I saw was not weakness, it was truth. Alex turned sharply. Truth, it was nothing. To you, Reich replied. To me, it was everything. Alex's stomach tightened. He wanted to shout, to laugh, to push Reich out the door. But instead he sat frozen, trapped by those words. Truth. Everything. The silence returned once again, louder than before, until Alex couldn't stand it. He grabbed the nearest object, a pillow, and tossed it weakly at Reich. You're impossible. You know that? The alien didn't move. The pillow bounced off his chest and fell to the floor. His expression never changed. Instead, he said quietly, You do not understand. Not yet. But you will. And with that, Reich turned and left again, the door hissing shut behind him. Alex sat in the quiet room, his heart pounding, his skin prickling, with unease. He didn't know what Reich meant. He didn't want to know. But deep down in the pit of his stomach, he felt the truth. This wasn't just awkward. This was the start of something far bigger. And no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't escape the silence that followed. The alien's reaction. The next morning arrived, but Alex hardly slept. The silence from the night before still weighed on him, heavy and unshakable. He had tossed and turned, replaying Reich's words again and again in his head. What I saw was not weakness, it was truth. No matter how many times Alex whispered it back to himself, it made no sense. It sounded more like prophecy than conversation. When he finally pulled himself out of bed, his eyes were heavy, his body tired. He rubbed his face with both hands and muttered, Coffee? I need coffee. The apartment smelled faintly of metal and ozone, always a reminder he lived on an alien station, not Earth. He shuffled toward the small kitchen, hoping Reich was gone. But when the door slid open, he stopped cold. Reich was already there. The alien stood in the middle of the room, not eating, not drinking, not moving. He was simply standing, tall and still, with all four of his dark eyes fixed on Alex. Alex's heart skipped. You're up early, he said, trying to sound casual. Reich didn't answer. Instead, he slowly raised one long arm and tapped a claw against the table. The sound echoed in the room, clink, 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 like a signal, like a warning. Alex's throat went dry. Look, about yesterday, can we just... He waved his hands in the air. Forget it. Humans make mistakes. You walked in at the wrong time. End of story. But Reich didn't agree. His voice came low and steady. No, not end. Beginning. Alex froze. Beginning of what? Reich tilted his head, all four eyes narrowing slightly. He spoke with care, as though each word had weight. You believe it was accident, I do not. That made Alex's stomach twist. What are you saying? The alien stepped closer. His tall shadow stretched across the floor until it touched Alex's bare feet. When I entered your space, I saw what was hidden. And when I saw, I understood. Understood what? Alex demanded. His nerves were fraying. That you are not like us, Reich said. That humans are not weak. You are different, more dangerous. Alex laughed nervously, though it sounded forced. Dangerous? You saw me in a towel, Reich. Not exactly terrifying. But Reich didn't laugh. His expression stayed unreadable, his eyes shining faintly in the station's light. It is not the body that is dangerous. It is the shame you tried to hide. The fear. The way you protect what should be seen. That is your strength. Alex blinked. He didn't know whether to be flattered or insulted. You're saying me? Covering myself with a towel makes me dangerous. That's insane. Reich's claws tapped again on the table. Clink. Clink. He was patient, but intense. like a teacher waiting for a student to finally understand. In my kind, Reek said, we show everything. Nothing hidden. No secrets. But you humans, you keep parts of yourselves locked away. You cover. You hide. You make rules. This is why you cannot be understood. Alex swallowed hard. For the first time, he felt less embarrassed and more unsettled. What Reek saw as truth was not about skin. It was about something deeper, something Alex himself didn't fully realize. He tried to push it away. You're overthinking this. Humans are just private sometimes, okay? We don't like being seen without clothes. It's normal. Reek leaned closer, his 4 eyes glinting. Normal for you, not for the galaxy, not for me. The silence stretched again, heavy and suffocating. Alex wanted to run, to escape, but his feet stayed rooted to the floor. Finally, Reek spoke again, his voice quieter now. I asked myself many questions last night. I did not sleep. I thought of what I saw, and I realized I must tell the others. Alex's blood went cold. The others? Who's the others? My kin. My leaders. They must know. Alex's jaw dropped. No, you can't just tell people that. It was private. Reek studied him calmly. To you, it is private. To us, it is discovery. Alex shook his head, panic rising in his chest. You're acting like you found some new alien species. I'm just a guy who forgot to lock his door after a shower. But Reek didn't see it that way. His claws tapped once more, sharp against the table. Humans are not simple. You believe. You are small, weak, nothing special. But every time you surprise us, you hide, you adapt, you survive. Even this shame you carry, it is weapon. Alex stepped back, heart racing. Weapon? Come on, you can't be serious. But Reek was serious, deadly serious. His voice was low and final as he said, I will report what I have seen, and when I do, nothing will be the same. Alex felt the room tilt around him. His coffee was forgotten. His breath came fast and shallow. He wanted to argue, to fight, to scream, but he knew none of it would matter. Reek had already decided. The silence that followed was heavier than ever before. And in that silence, Alex realized something terrifying. This wasn't just an awkward moment between roommates. This was the start of a secret humans might never be ready to share. The strange discovery. The day dragged on like a storm that never ended. Alex could not focus on anything. Every thought circled back to Reek's words. I will report what I have seen. Those words hung in Alex's mind like an iron weight. He imagined alien officials, high-ranking leaders with cold, expressionless faces reading reports about his towel incident. It was absurd, yet frightening. By evening, Alex sat at his desk staring blankly at the glow of his data pad. The screen displayed unread messages from work, but his eyes slid over them without comprehension. All he could think about was Reek. What did the alien mean? Why was something so small, so personal, treated like it was a revelation? Then the door hissed open again. Alex flinched, half expecting Reek to march in with armed guards. But it was only Reek, alone, silent as always. The alien stepped into the room and paused, his 4 eyes scanning the space. Alex's throat tightened. We need to talk, he said quickly. Reek tilted his head, as if considering the idea. Then he stepped forward, his tall frame casting long shadows across the cluttered floor. Talk, Reek said simply. Alex pushed away from his desk and stood, trying to steady his breathing. Why are you doing this? Why are you making a big deal out of nothing? I'm just a human. You walked in at the wrong time. End of story. Reek's eyes glimmered faintly. Unreadable. It is not nothing. It is proof. Alex frowned. Proof of what? The alien stepped closer, his voice calm but heavy with meaning. Proof that humans are not as we thought. Proof that you hide power in ways we do not understand. Alex's chest tightened. He tried to laugh, but the sound was weak. Power? Are you kidding me? You saw me in a towel, Rake. That's not power, that's humiliation. But Rake shook his head slowly. You do not see. That is why it matters. The alien reached into the folds of his tunic and pulled out a small object. It looked like a stone, but when he turned it in his claws, it shimmered with faint light. Alex's eyes narrowed. What is that? This, Reek said, is a memory shard. It holds what I witnessed, the image of you. Alex's stomach dropped. Wait, you recorded that? The alien did not answer directly. Instead, he held the shard higher, its glow painting strange shadows on the walls. I studied it. I compared it to our archives. There is nothing like it. No other species hides the way you do. No other species protects weakness as if it were strength. Alex felt heat rush to his face. That's not strength, that's just embarrassment, privacy. But Reek ignored the protest. Do you not see? It is your privacy that is the weapon. Your shame is your shield. What is hidden cannot be measured. What is unseen cannot be predicted. This is why humans endure. This is why you confuse us. The word sent a chill down Alex's spine. He had never thought of it like that before. To him, being embarrassed was just normal, ordinary. But to Reich, it was extraordinary. Still, the thought of being studied made his skin crawl. Delete it, Alex said firmly. Whatever you saw, whatever you saved, delete it. It's not for you. It's not for anyone. Reich's claws tightened around the shard. His voice dropped to a whisper. I cannot. It is too important. Alex's frustration boiled over. He slammed his hand against the table. Important to who? To you? To your people? What about me? Did you ever think about what I want? The alien blinked, slow and deliberate. You wish to forget, but truth cannot be forgotten. The silence stretched again, long and suffocating. Alex's breath came sharp and quick, but deep down, part of him realized something he didn't want to admit. Reek truly believed this was more than an accident, and then Reek said something even stranger. There is an old story in my kind, he murmured, eyes distant now. It tells of a species that hides not because they are weak, but because they know the universe watches. A species that covers themselves until the day comes when the covering is no longer needed. We thought it was myth. But now, his four eyes locked on Alex. Now I believe it was about humans. Alex's mouth went dry. He tried to laugh, but no sound came. You're saying your legends are about us? Reek nodded once. Perhaps. Alex rubbed his forehead, pacing across the small room. This was insane. He wanted to call it all nonsense, to dismiss it as alien superstition. But the look in Reek's eyes told him it wasn't superstition. It was belief. And belief, Alex realized, could be more dangerous than fact. You can't tell anyone about this, Alex said firmly. Not your leaders, not your people, no one. Promise me. But Rick did not promise. His silence was answer. Enough. Alex's pulse hammered in his ears. For the first time since the accident, he truly understood the danger. This wasn't just about an awkward moment anymore. This was about how humans were seen, how they would be judged by others, and if Reek was right, if other aliens believed the same way, then one small mistake in a messy apartment could change everything. Tension between roommates. The next few days felt heavier than Alex could bear. It wasn't just the silence in the apartment, it was the way Reich looked at him now. The alien no longer moved like an ordinary roommate. He didn't stomp around the kitchen, didn't argue about dishes, didn't even complain about Alex's mess. Instead, he watched. Always watching. Every time Alex turned, he found those four dark eyes studying him. Not with anger, not with humor, with fascination. Like Alex was no longer a person but a puzzle to be solved. It made Alex's skin crawl. On the first day, Alex tried to ignore it. He buried himself in work, tapping at his data pad, listening to soft earth music through his headphones. But even then he could feel Reek's gaze. When he looked up, there Reek was, sitting silently in the corner of the room, claws folded, eyes unblinking. He wasn't blinking because he didn't need to. He could stare for hours without rest. Can you not do that? Alex snapped finally. I'm trying to concentrate. Reek tilted his head. Do what? That. Alex threw his hands in the air, staring at me like I'm some kind of lab rat. The alien didn't flinch. I am trying to understand. Alex groaned, rubbing his forehead. You'll never understand. Just let it go. But Reek didn't let it go. He never did. On the second day, Alex thought things would be better. He woke early before sunrise and hoped he'd have some time to himself. But when he opened the door to the kitchen, Reek was already there. He wasn't eating. He wasn't moving. He was sketching on his datapad, strange alien symbols Alex couldn't read. When Alex cleared his throat, Reek quickly tilted the screen away, but not fast enough. Alex caught a glimpse of something that made his heart skip. Drawings of human anatomy, not just simple stick figures. Detailed, exact. What are you doing? Alex demanded. Reek didn't answer right away. His eyes narrowed, but his claws tapped lightly on the datapad, saving the file. Then with calm voice he said, Recording truth. Alex's stomach twisted. That's private. You can't just... But Reich cut him off. It is not private if it is truth. You showed it. I saw it. It cannot be hidden anymore. Alex wanted to argue, but the words died in his throat. How could he explain privacy to someone who didn't believe in it? By the third day, Alex had grown paranoid. He started double-checking the locks on the bathroom door. He kept his towel tied, tighter. He even covered the mirror with a shirt, as though hiding his reflection would keep him safe. But the worst part wasn't the watching. It was the whispering. Late at night, when the station outside was quiet and the lights in their room were dim, Alex sometimes woke to hear Reek murmuring in his alien tongue. The words were low and guttural like gravel sliding down metal. Alex lay in bed holding his breath, trying to listen. He couldn't understand the language, but he recognized one word repeated again and again. Human. Every time he heard it, his stomach knotted tighter. On the fourth day, Alex finally snapped. He stormed into the living room where Reek sat motionless again, staring at the glowing shard in his claws. That's it, Alex shouted. I can't take this anymore. Reek looked up slowly, his expression unreadable. You are afraid. Of course I'm afraid, Alex exploded. You walk around like a ghost, you whisper to yourself. You keep drawing me like I'm some science project. You keep talking about truth like you found some ancient treasure. It was just an accident. I was in a towel, that's all. For a long moment, Reek didn't speak. He simply tapped the shard against the table. Clink. Clink. Finally, his voice came low. It is never just accident. In my people, we believe chances guide. What we see is what we are meant to see, and I was meant to see you. Alex's face went pale. That's insane. Reek leaned forward, his voice steady. Perhaps, but truth does not care what you believe. It exists. Alex took a step back, his pulse racing. He didn't know what scared him more, Reich's words or the calm certainty behind them. From that day, Alex avoided the apartment as much as possible. He stayed late at work, wandered the station corridors, even ate meals alone in the noisy food court rather than share a table with Reek. But avoidance didn't erase the tension. It only made it worse. Because every time Alex returned home, he found new signs that Reek was still watching. The datapad lying open with more sketches, notes written in alien script that ended with the word human, the shard glowing faintly on the table, pulsing as though it was alive. Alex began to wonder if Reek had already reported him. On the seventh night, Alex finally asked. He sat at the edge of his bed, staring at the floor. His voice was low, almost a whisper. Did you tell them? Reek, sitting across the room in the dim light, lifted his eyes. Tell who? Your leaders, your people. Did you report me? The alien's silence stretched long and heavy. Then he said, "Not yet." Alex's heart leapt. "Not yet? What are you waiting for?" Reek tapped the shard once more. Clink. His eyes glowed faintly. "I am waiting," he said, "for you to understand what I saw. Because once I report, it will not belong only to me. It will belong to all. And when that happens, you will never be able to hide again." Alex sat frozen, his mind spinning. He didn't fully understand what Reek meant, but one thing was certain. The awkward accident in the apartment had grown into something much bigger, and no matter how much he wished it away, the tension between them was only the beginning. The Carthans revealed. The air inside the apartment was heavy, thicker than usual, as if the station's filters had slowed down. Alex sat on the edge of his bed, staring at the faint glow of the shard on the table. It pulsed softly in the dim light, almost like a heartbeat. He hated it. Every time he looked at it, his chest tightened. He imagined his face, his body, recorded, inside, frozen forever in alien memory. He imagined Reek showing it to his people, passing it around like some great discovery. He imagined alien leaders leaning forward, studying him like a rare animal. It was unbearable. Alex pressed his palms against his eyes, whispering, "Please just be a bad dream." But it wasn't a dream, and he knew Reek wasn't going to forget. The door hissed open. Alex lifted his head, dread crawling up his spine. Reek stepped inside slowly, his tall shadow stretching across the floor. His 4 eyes glowed faintly in the low light. He carried no datapad this time, no sketches, no tools. Only himself. And that made Alex even more nervous. "We need to end this," Alex said quickly, his voice shaking more than he wanted. "You've been watching me. Whispering, sketching, recording, it has to stop. Right now, you're driving me insane." Rake didn't answer immediately. He closed the door behind him and stood still as though weighing each word before speaking. Finally, his voice came low, calm, and heavy. "It will not stop, because what I saw cannot be undone." Alex groaned, running his hands through his hair. "You keep saying that, but you don't explain. You act like this is some grand revelation, but you never tell me why. What is so important about one stupid mistake? What did you really see, Reich?" The alien's eyes narrowed. Then he stepped closer, the metal floor creaking beneath his weight. His voice dropped to a whisper. "I saw the truth of humanity." Alex froze. "What does that even mean?" Reek lowered himself slightly so his eyes met Alex's. "You believe you are weak. You believe you are ordinary. But you are not. You are dangerous. You are the only species I have met that hides its strength behind shame." Alex's heart pounded. "Strength? That wasn't strength, that was me being embarrassed." But Reich shook his head slowly. "No, it was more. You cover yourself. You protect your body, your thoughts, your feelings. You make walls around the things that matter most. That is what makes you powerful. Because no one ever knows what you truly carry inside. It cannot be predicted. It cannot be controlled." The words sank into Alex like ice. Reek wasn't talking about towels or showers anymore. He was talking about something deeper. About what it meant to be human. "You think hiding makes us strong?" Alex asked, his voice softer now. "Yes," Reek said. "It is why your kind has survived wars, hunger, and worlds that should have destroyed you. You protect what is fragile. You guard what others would expose. You treat your weakness as treasure." Alex shook his head, unable to believe it. "That doesn't make sense. That's not strength. That's just fear." But Reek leaned closer, his 4 eyes gleaming. "And yet fear has saved you again and again. Fear makes you prepare. Fear makes you adapt. Fear makes you unpredictable. To my people, weakness is shown, and so it can be exploited. To yours, weakness is hidden, and so it becomes mystery. That is why you are dangerous." Alex's throat went dry. He didn't want to admit it, but something in Reek's words felt true. Humans did hide things. They hid pain. They hid fear. They even hid their own embarrassment, pretending to laugh while secretly trembling inside. And maybe, just maybe, that did make them stronger. The silence grew thicker. Alex wanted to argue, but his words tangled in his throat. Finally, he asked, almost afraid of the answer, "Is that why you want to report me? Because you think humans are dangerous?" Reek's voice came steady. "Not dangerous, essential. If my leaders understand, they will know what humans truly are." And then, he paused, all four eyes narrowing. "Then the galaxy will change." Alex's chest tightened. Change how? Reek did not answer at first. He stepped to the table and placed his clawed hand over the shard. The glow reflected off his skin. "There are those who fear you. There are those who wish to destroy you before you grow. But there are also those who see what I see, that you are the missing piece. The proof that survival comes not from strength alone, but from what is hidden." Alex's stomach twisted. "You're saying this could start a war?" "Or prevent one," Reek said quietly. "That depends on who learns the truth first." The words struck Alex like thunder. He realized now why Reich had been whispering, sketching, staring. This wasn't obsession. This wasn't curiosity. This was belief. To Reich, Alex wasn't just a roommate anymore. He was a symbol, a living answer to an ancient question. Alex sank back onto the bed, his hands shaking. "I didn't ask for this," he whispered. "No," Reich agreed. "You did not. But truth does not ask. It reveals." The alien's voice was calm, almost gentle, but it chilled Alex to the bone. He felt smaller than ever, as if his ordinary, embarrassing mistake had placed him in the center of something far beyond his control. And yet a part of him wondered, what if Reek was right? What if this accident had revealed something real about humanity? Before Alex could speak again, Reek lifted the shard. Its glow filled the room, painting the walls with shifting light. "When I report this," Reek said slowly, "they will come. They will ask questions, they will want to see for themselves, and when that happens, you must be ready." Alex stared at him, horrified. "Ready for what?" Reek's voice dropped to a whisper. "To show them what humans truly are." The shard pulsed once more, bright and alive, and Alex felt his world tilt. He wanted to run, to scream, to tell Reek to throw the shard away. But deep inside, he knew it was already too late. The truth had been revealed, and now the galaxy was waiting. The twist ending. The shard glowed like a star trapped inside stone. Its faint pulse lit the room in waves of silver, flickering across the walls and across Alex's uneasy face. He couldn't look away. It felt alive, as if it were breathing with him. Reek stood tall beside the table, his claws resting gently on the shard, his four eyes never leaving Alex. For hours the tension between them had grown heavier, but now it pressed down like gravity itself. Alex finally broke the silence. His voice was tight, almost desperate. "You can't do this, you can't show them, it was an accident, just me in a towel. That's all it was. You're turning it into something it's not." But Reek's voice came low, steady, and certain. "It is not accident. It is sign. You hide weakness, you guard shame. That is power my people never understood. And once they see, they will never look at humans the same again." Alex rubbed his face with both hands, trying to think. His heart raced. "You're not listening. If you tell them, they'll twist it. They'll turn me into some weapon, or some symbol. They'll use it against us." Rick tilted his head. "Perhaps. Or perhaps they will honor you." Alex laughed bitterly. "Honor me? For being naked? That's insane." But the alien didn't laugh. His eyes gleamed. "It is not your body that matters. It is what it means. You guard yourself. You protect the truth inside. That is why you are feared. That is why you are needed." The words rattled Alex. For days he had argued, denied, resisted. But deep down, part of him knew Reek believed every word. And belief was dangerous. Alex swallowed hard. So what happens now? You go to your leaders and then what? The galaxy puts me on trial? Or puts me on display? Reek stepped closer, his shadow stretching across the floor. No, they will not put you on trial. They will put humanity on trial. They will decide if your kind is threat or salvation. Alex's stomach sank. This was bigger than him, bigger than his embarrassment, bigger than his life. And then Reich said the words that changed everything. They are already coming. The room went silent. Alex stared at him wide-eyed. What do you mean, already coming? Reek's claws tapped the shard once. Clink. The glow shifted brighter now, pulsing faster. When I touched this stone, it sent message, not just to my leaders, to others. They felt the truth inside. They are on their way. Alex's chest tightened. You mean ships? Actual ships? You called them here? Reek did not deny it. His voice was calm, almost gentle. They wish to see. They wish to know. They will arrive soon. Alex staggered back, his knees weak. You brought them here, to this station, without asking me? You showed me truth, Reek said firmly. Truth does not wait for permission. Alex's mind spun. He imagined massive alien fleets descending on the station. Leaders, soldiers, scientists, all wanting to see him, to study him, to question him. He imagined cameras, experiments, tests. He imagined humanity judged by one stupid mistake in a messy apartment. Panic clawed at his chest. You don't understand. Humans aren't ready for this. We're not who you think we are. But Reich leaned closer, his four eyes burning with quiet fire. You are exactly who I think you are. You are mystery, and mystery changes everything. Minutes passed like hours. Alex paced, muttering to himself, shaking his head. This was insane, absolutely insane. Then the station shuddered. A faint tremor, like a giant hand pressing against its hull. The lights flickered. The hum of the air filter dipped, then steadied again. Alex froze. What was that? Reek's gaze shifted toward the ceiling. They are here. Alex's blood ran cold. He stumbled toward the window, pulling back the thin cover. Outside, the stars glittered, and in front of them hung ships. Enormous glowing vessels, their shapes unlike anything human hands had ever built. They drifted like silent gods, surrounding the station in a halo of light. Alex's breath caught. Oh, my God. Behind him, Reek spoke softly. Not gods. Witnesses. The shard pulsed faster, brighter, until the whole room glowed. Alex shielded his eyes, but Reek stood tall, bathed in the light as though welcoming it. They will want to see you, Reek said. They will ask questions. They will look into your eyes and judge your kind. Alex's hands shook. His voice cracked. I'm not ready. I'm not a leader. I'm not a soldier. I'm just me. I'm just a guy who forgot to lock the door. Reek finally placed a clawed hand gently on Alex's shoulder. His voice was deep, solemn. That is why you are ready. Because you are not leader, not soldier. You are human. That is enough. Alex's heart pounded. The words should have comforted him. But instead, they terrified him. Because now, for the first time, he understood. This wasn't about him anymore. It was about all of humanity. And the galaxy had just arrived to judge. Outside, the ships glowed brighter, their light washing over the station. The room shook again as docking signals echoed through the walls. Alex took a deep breath, clutching the towel of memory in his mind, the towel that had started it all. He closed his eyes, whispering to himself, "This is insane. Absolutely insane." But when he opened his eyes again, Reek was still there, tall and steady, his four eyes calm. "Come," the alien said. "It is time." Alex wanted to run. He wanted to hide. But he knew there was no hiding anymore. The truth had been revealed and nothing, absolutely nothing, would ever be the same again.